wonderful good day to you. This is Owen McCafferty speaking on behalf of Professional Fusion. Topic of today's discussion relates to continuing education and how you should start planning for it. This is the pre-continuing education period when planning becomes most important. Most professions will have continuing education in the first part of the year, usually January, February, March, sometimes April, but usually it's January, February, and March. Define in your own practice, number one, who will be availed the opportunity for continuing education that is away from the office, usually at a site, could be a national meeting or could be a local meeting. Go through your roster and establish doctor by doctor, support staff person by support staff person, other professional within your practice group that may have differing continuing education demands. So for example, registered nurses may have different educational requirements than physicians. Doctors of veterinary medicine will most probably have different demands than licensed technicians or certified veterinary practice managers. Doctors of dental surgery will have different demands in continuing education from the hygienists that may be in your practice. So now is the time to start mapping out and making a decision for payment. It wouldn't be a bad idea from a tax planning standpoint to pay for at least the registration and the tuition for any of these courses. And to sit down with the individuals and talk about expectations. What do you want them to learn from the continuing education courses that they're scheduled to take? Now we can pretty much bifurcate these into national meetings, regional meetings, and local meetings. Local meetings are usually day meetings or half-day meetings. Regional meetings will most probably require travel overnight, usually by car. And then national meetings are usually required with plane fare, obviously multiple overnight stays. One of the things that you may want to start planning is who is going to be meeting for what we call affectionately the Tavern Tutorials. That is the learning and the networking that occurs after a person has attended the scheduled classes. It could involve an exhibit hall, could involve meeting with vendors to gain additional information. Excuse me. Or it could involve meeting with colleagues, either in other practices, classmates, going out to dinner, having planned breakfasts prior to the meetings. But in order to take full advantage of continuing education, you have to start planning now. And that usually involves a calendar. What I like to use is the one that's right on the iPhone that I use, and that is an Outlook calendar. And I try to be as detailed as I can. I coordinate it with the computer that I use on my desk. And I have other people in the practice also make appointments for me to meet with various people at these continuing education meetings. I also know what kind of continuing education I would require. So I get a hold of the syllabus prior to that time. Some syllabuses will also include seminar rooms and maybe even instructors. So I try to plan that out as much as I humanly can and then make a determination. I've got a little challenge because I'm licensed in 6 states. I'm also licensed as a certified veterinary practice manager, and under the American Institute of CPAs, I'm certified in financial forensics, and I'm also a certified global management accountant. Now, each one of those alphabetic designations also includes separate continuing education requirements. So you got to make sure you're meeting them all. Some have requirements for continuing education hours that are in person, and some that can be used with webcasts. Excuse me, sorry about this. So in each one of the instances, I strongly suggest that you get a chance and sit down and plan now. Make the payments, because if you're on a cash method of accounting, you can deduct the tuition in the year paid. Also, you may want to make plane reservations for national meetings and determine where you're going to stay while you're there, either at the headquarter hotel, or if possibly you're going to find an alternative hotel. Some of you may need transportation, so you might plan for a rental car, because sometimes they get chewed up. The quicker that you make reservations, the less expensive the cost, because hotels and airlines and car rental places have premium pricing for last minute plans. And you may also want to see if some of these costs and expenses can be shared with people in other practices. So for example, you'd fly together, you'd use the same rental car, you'd fly to a hotel. You may not necessarily share a room, but what you will do is you'll have a plan together. It's also safer, and that's one of the other factors that I just want to throw out. Every time you leave home, there's a risk that there could be a need for some protection. So traveling in numbers in groups is safer than trying to do things yourself, solo. Once you know what you're going to do, you publish your itinerary, you give it to your family, and also somebody at the practice in the event that there is a problem. You make sure that if you're a speaker for one of the meetings, that there's a business center. And in the business center, you can get last minute photocopies for handouts and presentations. Make sure whoever you are, you have business cards, because you want to pass out the business cards for connections. You never know, that person that you meet at a meeting may be an employee of the practice in the year to come, and may call you for information, may ask for assistance. The networking that you have from these meetings is huge. So just a few ideas, a few thoughts. This really applies to people in professions, although there are businesses that have meetings and instructional sources that would also possibly find this of benefit. But I'm specifically looking at veterinary medicine, dentistry, and dermatology. Of course, many of the things that I mentioned also apply to me as a CPA. So it's a good time. It's an exciting time. You'll learn an awful lot. There will be expectations that you as employer will put on your staff. So for example, you may ask that they bring back procedures that you can then pursue, and maybe even find out what kind of pricing structure there would be for them. You can do things to be as proactive as you choose. So this is Owen McCafferty. I want to say thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful seminar season. Take care.